innocent until proven guilty. Just ask, just ask the parents of the boys of the Duke lacrosse team.
All right, now whoop. Loved you in Sister Act. Loved you even more in Sister Act 2. But if you want to play the imagine this happening to your kid card, let's go the other way. Okay, imagine you have a daughter, and she was sexually assaulted by somebody, and there was no recourse against them because they were very powerful and influential, whether it be Bill Cosby or a local official or a football player in Steubenville. You know, so and I could understand it, Kyle, if it was one or two women, because yes, there are unscrupulous women out there who will make something up like this.
But it's very rare in comparison to those who have to hide what actually happened to them for fear of scrutiny.
Right. But the fact that, number one, there's over 30 of these women out there, all of them have very similar stories, and they've either been kept quiet, A, by settling out of court, or B, by intimidation, I think is your smoking gun.
You know what's crazy to me is that there have been people who have known for a fact that he's done this since 2005, 2006, and they've kept quiet.
Right. Well,
like that's crazy. Like, there is a whole court system in Philadelphia that have known for a fact for a decade, 10 years, that Bill Cosby has been doing all this in the face of people like Whoopi Goldberg, and even though she recanted, the aforementioned Jill Scott, and others who refused to believe that he was capable of doing this.
Well, you know, I'm going to give Whoopi the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure what she's doing, she probably does have it in her head, just like Bill Cosby has convinced his wife that, you know, these women are out to get him, or, quote-unquote, they knew what they were getting into. I've heard that.
That's disgusting. That's such a disgusting sentiment.
But, you know, talking about the courts in Philadelphia, when this first broke, there were stories of women who were on a plane to Philadelphia to testify in the case against Cosby, and then while they're in the air, they got called up from whoever the attorney was who was representing the alleged victims, saying that Cosby's people settled out of court or something. So, you know, I'm not sure what the court can and cannot do after something like that, because like we said,
well, they were sealed.
Yeah, 2005 it was sealed. So, but come on, let's get. I know that he is a beloved cultural figure, but sometimes sometimes you just have to admit that we were wrong about somebody,
and that is why it's so hard to digest. I mean, there are people out there who never seem to trust victims and try to turn, it towards victim blaming. There's a good syndrome of that in the U.S., in our culture. But it's especially hard to believe when you think about how much we both love the Cosby Show.
Right.
How often we watch the Cosby Show.
And I actually forgot about the 2005 case until Hannibal Buress brought it back up.
And I remembered a little bit of it. And I remember at one time I was actually working on a really weird radio project to play for my old Turning Down the Bro show on WXOU. And I actually made fun of Cosby's rape allegations and that. And even though it's just a college radio show, I actually edited out.
Yeah.
I was like, no, because in case someone hears that, someone might say,
Right.
like, that's how much reverence there was. We're like, okay, I still don't know if this guy did it. It's one accusation, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's Cliff Huxtable. And of course, you have to separate the character from the person.
Right.
But it's still hard because he was such an enduring and such a beloved father figure. He was the perfect dad on television.
I think what happened with me, I heard about it in 2005. I hoped it wasn't true. Then it went away. So you thought, okay, must not be true. And I forgot about it. We have to take a break here, Kyle. It's turn the radio off on the internet.
Less rock, more talk. Turn the radio off.
Become a fan at peoplehatemypodcast.com.
Mr. Bucket!
That's right. I'm Mr. Bucket. I'm Mr. Bucket. Toss your balls in my top. I'm Mr. Bucket. Out of my mouth and we'll pop. I'm Mr. Bucket. We're all gonna run. I'm Mr. Bucket.
Bucket for fun.
The game's Mr. Bucket. The first to get their balls into Mr. Bucket wins, but look out, because the balls will pop out of his mouth. I'm Mr. Bucket. The balls pop out of my mouth. I'm Mr. Bucket. A ball is what I'm about. I'm Mr. Bucket. We're all gonna run. I'm Mr. Bucket. Mr. Bucket from Milton Bradley. Bucket for fun.
What is Jack?
Jack is great stuff. Oozy. Jack is stretchy.
You can pull it. Make Jack sounds.
How rude.
Suck it up and squirt it out with a Gak Vac. Pump it up and blow it up with a Gak Inflator.
Well, I never.
Nickelodeon Gak comes in different colors, sizes, and play sets, each sold separately. Coming soon from Mattel.
Disgusting.
So much fun. It's scary. Become a fan on Facebook at www.ttroshow.com. It's Turn the Radio Off.
So, Kyle, I think it's important for us as a society to know when a hotly contested debate is over, when a national topic of conversation has run its course. Earlier this month, a very long-running hot topic of conversation met its conclusion with the Supreme Court legalizing gay marriage. Here in Michigan, I would say that the long-running conversation about the film subsidies unfortunately came to a close, that they killed them today. And then a shorter-lived but very, very hotly contested national conversation over the Confederate flag, I feel, is petering out. And I think it's about time. It started kind of as a sidebar issue to that terrible shooting in Charlotte, North Carolina, where that wacko went into that church. Is it South? What'd I say?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Thank you for.
That's Charlotte, Charleston.
Yeah. I was thinking of when we played the NBA Jam on Friday, and I was Grandma Mon Alonzo Mourning.
Right. The Hornets are a kill team in NBA Jam, so I really shouldn't have let you get away with that.
Okay. My apologies. In Charleston, South Carolina, that terrible shooting.
Was it appropriate for me to use the term kill team in the same breath of you talking about a mass shooting?
I don't think it was intentional, so I'll give you a pass there. But it kind of came up as a side issue because, of course, after the shooting, the state capitol, the American flag was at half-mast, the Confederate flag was at full-mast, and people's first question was, how come the Confederate flag or Confederate battle flag is not at half-mast? And they say, well, it's because it's on a crappy flagpole that we can't lower.
Yeah, any excuse they can make.
Well, then so people are like, oh, well, how come there's a Confederate flag on the grounds of the South Carolina Capitol? And then it kind of took on a life of its own. And look, I've been forced to think about where I stand on the Confederate battle flag, Kyle, because it's not the actual flag of the Confederacy. It was the flag of the Battle of North Virginia, and it was adopted as the battle flag. But, for all intents and purposes, culturally, it's the Confederate flag. And, I think the Confederate flag, its meaning is transferable. If you're a bunch of rednecks in Tennessee and you're waving it at the presidential motorcade, then it's a symbol of disrespect. If you're a member of the Klan, waving it at your rallies, it's a symbol of hatred. If you're a state from the Confederacy that is still waving it over your capital, it's kind of like hanging a banner for missing the playoffs. It's a sign of defeat. And Kyle, look. If I had a vote, would I say, take down the Confederate flag at the Capitol? Yes, but if they didn't, I would have slept fine at night. You can't ban it because unfortunately you can't ban people from being hateful. You can't ban people from being prejudiced. But I think what I'm going to do now to sort of end this conversation, I'm going to put a hot button on my phone. And anytime somebody brings up the Confederate flag, I'm just going to blast Queen. And say, scoreboard, bitch! But really, like I said, You know, the General Lee, it's just decoration. If Skynyrd and Kid Rock are flying it at their concerts, to me it's just decoration.
Well, speaking of Kid Rock, you know what I think you should do? You should take the Kid Rock approach.
Yeah.
And anytime you have a hot take, you know what you should just say to your haters?
What should I say?
You can suck my dick!
They love that.
Or, you can kiss my ass! And then you just either repeat that, oh, yeah, listen to that crowd noise. I love that. That's the Kid Rock crowd, by the way. That's people made in Michigan, Mike.
All right, let's try this.
That's made in Detroit.
Let's try this. And by the way, I think there's a lot to like about Kid Rock, and I think there's a lot to annoy you about Kid Rock. But, Kid, I've lost my dog. Do you think you can help me find it?
You can suck my dick! They just love it.
They do. And you know what? I do have to give Kid Rock props for certain things that he does. You know, there's a special needs kid who was a big fan of his that he just randomly showed up to his birthday party at the Clarkston Union. But I do think that Kid Rock, he does...
Hey, you know what, Mike?
What?
I work with special needs kids every day, and it's assholes with ideology like his that keep me getting paid $10 an hour.
That's true, because if you...
Because all of his buddies... Oh, because... Hey, you can kiss my ass.
Oh, I
the
thought...
Medicaid reform.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say, if you want to make more money, find a better job.
Oh, which is I'm sure Kid Rock would get behind that motto. Mike, I know he's done a lot of great stuff for veterans. He's done a lot of great stuff for people in the special needs community, which I certainly have to commend. He's done some great things. I've even heard him say some, not so eloquently, but say that a woman deserves a choice in matters of keeping a child after pregnancy or not. I've heard him say some things that may and do some things that make me not want to hate him. But Mike, this is where I differ from you on this whole thing, and differ from Kid Rock, and differ from the throng of people who support the Confederate flag in Michigan. We're all saying that if you want to take down the Confederate flag, you can kiss my ass. But I was going to say that it just blows my mind, because this was a flag that should be treasonous in this area. And I know that people around here, a lot of them came up from the South during the 40s and the 30s and 40s to work for the auto companies. I know post-war there were a ton of people coming up here from the South because the economy was so good up here. I know the history and Southern ties, especially in the area that we're recording this in the Downriver area, that it has to the South. But, Mike, still, the bottom line is that flag, battle flag or not, I don't give a fuck if it's a battle flag. You know why? Because that's still a battle flag. They were battling to overtake the United States and fight for the right to continue slavery.
And guess what? They failed miserably.
Yes, and that's the point. Yeah, you can say, oh, well, it's the battle flag. It's not the real Confederate. No one knew that until 2 weeks ago. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing,
you need a history lesson.
It's still a flag that, yeah, Jethro, trust me, you didn't know. If I didn't know, you sure as hell didn't know.
You're talking about a flag.
Yeah, you're talking about a flag that has been around for years, and that was a battle flag that men died under. Yeah, men died under for the right to continue slavery in the United States. It's a flag that was resurrected and appropriated in the 50s in the South to represent Jim Crow, to represent segregation. Black people were lynched under that flag. Emmett Till was carried, a 14-year-old Emmett Till was carried through town on the back of a truck because he looked at a white woman funny underneath that flag. Okay? There were riots and beatings in Alabama. Black people died underneath that flag. Okay, the Ku Klux Klan congregates beneath that flag. Mm-hmm. There are too many racial and hateful undertones that underscore any sense of Southern pride. And what exactly is the South proud about again? What exactly are they proud about? Are they proud about illiteracy? Are they proud about slavery? Are they proud about their views on gay and interracial marriage? Are they proud about how slow they were to integrate their country, that we had to bring in the National Guard, that Lyndon B. Johnson had to sign a bill to get them to move their ass